Well, a New York Times columnist praises President Trump's approach and success in defeating ISIS, but says this victory has essentially gone unnoticed. In a column titled "A War Trump Won," conservative columnist Ross Douthat says one reason for the lack of fanfare is because it didn't require going to war with Syria. He also points to another reason, writing, "But this is also a press failure, a case where the media is not adequately reporting an important success because it does not fit into the narrative of Trumpian disaster in which our journalistic entities are all invested." Let's bring in today's media panel. Pulitzer Prize-winning investigative reporter and author Judy Miller and Tammy Bruce, a conservative radio talk show host, both of them Fox News contributors. What about it, Tammy? You read the column.
I did.
Are the press ignoring the president's success in defeating ISIS?
I think it's pretty obvious they are. But what was interesting about his column was that it begged the question in and of itself. He started out by effectively saying that the president's own behavior creates controversies that overshadow effectively great news like this. And we have defeated ISIS, and that's what's remarkable. It's just like another day, right? It's not something that people thought was a big deal, whereas in fact it's a huge deal. But it also tells you that when a columnist admits that the president got something right becomes news, that highlights the problem that we have with the media, that in and of itself is news. But we can tell you as an example, it's not because of the president's creation of controversies, it's that the media creates them. As an example, when we were defeating ISIS, what President Trump likes to call fake news from CNN, they were talking about how James Comey was going to say that he, in fact, told Donald Trump that he was under investigation. The number of firings at CNN for a false report about Anthony Scaramucci being under investigation. And most recently, the false report at CNN and MSNBC about the WikiLeaks drop, that President Trump allegedly got it a week before anyone else, whereas, in fact, it was after the fact like everyone else. So that becomes the news of gossip and the news of what's really happening in the country. Good news is ignored.
It is true, Judy, that, a couple of years ago, all of the headlines out of the Middle East were, people being beheaded en masse or burned alive. ISIS was a really scary organization. Now the Iraqi prime minister has said, they're all but done.
Right. Well, they're all but done on the ground. They're all but done territorially. The caliphate is dead.
Yep.
But as I'm sure Tammy remembers, we all remember because we were around New York on October 31st, Halloween, the ideology of ISIS persists, and that, the president himself has said, will continue to pose a challenge. But here's the thing. Yes, the president doesn't get sufficient credit for carrying out the policy that Ash Carter implemented in the last year of the Obama administration. Obama screwed this up. We have ISIS, in part because of Obama. But at least Ash Carter, the Secretary of Defense, put in a new strategy which Donald Trump was smart enough not to fiddle around with.
Yeah.